Welcome to the Prioritize You podcast, your go-to for connection and support in your journey of prioritizing your health in the chaos of motherhood. I'm your host, Brittany, health, fitness, and nutrition coach and mom of 3. I've navigated the depths of postpartum challenges, and through personal experience and 15 years of professional experience as a health and fitness coach, I was able to develop practical systems and frameworks to not only stay afloat, but to thrive physically and mentally. It's called the Prioritize You method. Say farewell to the pressures of perfection and restrictive routines. No more guilt, no more rigid regimens, no more burpees, just a compassionate space where self-love and sustainable practices are the goal. It's time to rediscover your energy, enthusiasm, and confidence as you take on the most kind and gentle journey of prioritizing you. Let's do this. I'm right here with you, promise. Hi, hello. Welcome back to the Prioritize You podcast. I am so pumped about this episode today because this is something that I have been talking to my clients about recently. I'm going to go through 2 examples today, and we are going to work through what to do when mom guilt interferes with your health and fitness goals. And it is a very simple 2-step process for you. You know me, especially in these podcast episodes, I want them to be short and sweet. And I want the action that you're able to take right away to be so freaking simple and really like a right away type of thing, right? And so again, super excited about this episode. What to do when mom guilt interferes with your health and fitness goals. Here's the thing. When it comes to mom guilt, especially as a working mom, it is so easy to really allow mom guilt to get in the way of things, right? Because when you're a working mom, you're already away from your kids during the day to go to your job, right? And there's likely some mom guilt associated with that, okay? It's almost impossible to not have mom guilt, especially in this day and age where we are supposed to work like raise your kids like you don't have a job and then go to work as though you don't have a family at home that you're taking care of, okay? So guilt is very prevalent all day, every day for us as working moms. And when it comes to your health and fitness goals, mom guilt can really, really, really come into play as well. And so my goal for you for this episode is to allow yourself to, I'm not going to set you up for failure, right? Like I don't want you to expect yourself to not have mom guilt, but I do want to equip you with the right tools to allow yourself to not let mom guilt interfere with your health and fitness goals, because that's not okay. We need to take care of ourselves. Our health and fitness does matter, and we are going to prioritize that. And even though mom guilt is going to come up, we're not going to let it get in our way. Okay? So again, I'm excited because I'm going to go through 2 different examples for you that I've been working with my clients on recently. And so I think it'll just be really helpful to hear some like real life experiences that my clients have been working on. And in both of those examples, like I said, there's going to be a 2-step process to, first off, listen back to your mom guilt. And then number 2 is reframe it. Okay? Very simple. So, example number 1. Let's say you have been getting up in the morning and going to the gym before your kids wake up. And when you get home, sometimes your kids are awake when you get home. Okay, this again is an example from one of my clients. So your mom guilt might show up like this. Oh my God, I'm such a bad mom for missing part of my kids' morning because I go to the gym. Oh, they really love when I'm there when they wake up. I feel so bad. Okay, so here's the thing. So what I worked with this client on specifically is I talked to her about it. I'm like, if you had to leave for work in the morning that early, and you didn't get to see your kids at all in the morning before you went to work, would you still have mom guilt? And she was like, well, yeah, I would still feel really bad. And I was like, okay, but would you let it interfere with actually showing up to work? Like, would you not go to work? She was like, no, of course I would. I have to go to work. It's how I support my family. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm hearing then is you think you're a bad mom because you're not there when they wake up, even though you're gonna see them in like after they wake up. You're still going to see them, okay? But if it's something that you have to do, you will do it, okay? If it's something that you have to do, you will do it, and likely not have the same level of mom guilt as when you are doing something that you get to do or you are choosing to do for you. There's a really big difference there, okay? So what we were talking about with this client is like, I get it. Your kids love when you're there when they wake up in the morning, but honestly, they're likely just really used to having you there when they wake up in the morning. And truthfully, they're gonna be just fine once they get started, like used to being woken up with, their dad or your partner or whatever, and like getting excited then when you walk in the door, right? Because you're gonna come home and they're gonna get to see you and they're gonna like run up to you and give you hugs in the morning, and there's nothing better than that, right? So we have to break down what you're saying. You're saying, I'm gonna let mom guilt potentially get in the way of my health and fitness goals, but I'm not gonna let mom guilt get in the way of going to work. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, when we listen back to it, it sounds not ridiculous, but like kind of ridiculous, right? And so when we just listen back and we hear the information in front of us, it's kind of like, oh yeah, oh, no, okay, duh. This is what I need to do, and this is what makes sense, right? And then we reframe it. We reframe it to think about how when you get home, they're going to be excited. We reframe it to think about how they're just used to seeing you in the morning. They'll get used to you being there and coming home, right? And so we take that negative and you just kind of look more at like the outcome. And that's where we start really diving deeper into that reframe thought process, right? Because here's the biggest takeaway is, sure, they're not getting you right when they wake up maybe, but when they are getting you, they're going to get you, right? Not the burnt out version of you who isn't taken care of and doesn't have time for herself. They get you. Because truthfully, at the end of the day, that is what your kids want. They want you. That's all they want. And so don't think about the fact that like you need to be with them every second, doing every little thing with them. No. Think about the fact that like when you are with them, you're going to be the best version of you. The best version of you, the best version of mom, right? All of these things. And so just remember that taking care of your health and fitness, going to the gym, doing all of the things that you need to do for you, your self-care, prioritizing yourself, those are the things that's going to allow you to show up as the best version of you. And that is the priority. Okay? So again, that's something I'm working with one of my clients on right now, is just that breaking down the data, break down what you're saying with mom guilt, and then reframe the thought process. Okay? So let's move on to example number 2. I've got another client who is working on an evening routine that really sets her up for like a better and a smoother morning, right? She's doing things like getting her water bottle filled up and having it in the fridge so that in the morning she's got a nice, cold, crisp bottle of water. That's her thing in the morning, right? Making sure that she's got like her breakfasts prepped and ready. Like if it's overnight oats, she has that in the fridge, like all of those sorts of things, right? And so there's a nice little evening routine that she has put together that is very quick and very effective. However, mom guilt comes in. She will think to herself sometimes, oh my God, I should really be playing with the kids right now. I can't believe I'm being so selfish and like doing this instead of playing with my kids. And again, this shows up very similarly to the first example, right? There's kind of a theme with mom guilt, right? It doesn't want you to have time for you. It is telling you that your stuff isn't as important as other things, or like the things that you have to do, right? Like work. So we cannot let mom guilt interfere with our health and fitness goals, because remember, when we go back to that reframe, we realize that they just want the best version of you, okay? We realize that the kids are going to have the more calm and attentive parent in the morning if you do the few simple step routine at night to get you set up for success, okay? That's what I said to my client. That's what we know. Those are the facts. That's the information that matters most. And here's the thing. So this mom guilt was creeping in on my client, and she was like, oh my gosh, I just feel so selfish and I can't believe I'm doing this and taking this time and whatever. And one thing that I do a lot of times with my clients is I have them time things that they are doing, okay? And this is something that I do within my one-on-one clients and my Prioritize You Method group coaching program. But we look at the amount of time that it actually takes you to do something, right? And this ended up being perfect for this client because we created a really efficient and effective evening routine that sets her morning up for success, right? But she was still getting all of this mom guilt. So I was like, look, time your evening routine. Literally see how long it takes, because I don't feel like it's taking you that long for you to feel this guilty about it, you know? So I'm giggling because it's like so funny, and she laughed, so like I can laugh. But she timed herself, and it took her like 4.5 minutes to do this evening routine. Just the quick, simple things. It was like boom, 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 boom. Evening routine done. Like 4.5 minutes long. And she was feeling so guilty about taking that time away from her kids. It was 4.5 minutes. Like, my kid takes longer to pull up his own pants. You know what I mean? Like, we sometimes we need the perspective of these 4.5 minutes give me so much peace of mind in the morning. It makes my life so much easier. I have to do it. That is not selfish. That is like the best thing that you can do for yourself. Because again, we want you to have a smooth morning so that you can show up as the best mom, right? And like as the best version of yourself and not be overwhelmed, overstimulated, and just overthinking everything that you do. So think about that, right? Step number 1, when you have mom guilt about things interfering with your health and fitness goals, is break down and listen back to your mom guilt, state the facts, get the data, and then you reframe your thought process so that it serves you in your favor, right? So that's the 2-step process. And then if that mom guilt, like if you feel like it is something of value, time out whatever action you're doing, like whatever it is that you're doing, time it and see if that mom guilt is really worth like stressing over like 4.5 minutes, like I was mentioning with my one client. Okay. So another thing that I want to mention just to kind of wrap all of this up is remember that a lot of times your excuses are also your reason why. Okay. Because a lot of times when I'm talking to my clients and I'm like, what makes you want to show up every single day? What makes you want to take care of yourself? And they want to be the best versions of themselves, and they want to be the best mom so that they can show up for their family and show up for their kids, right? And so when we think about like mom guilt, we're like, oh, I want to be able to spend this time with my kids. Okay, if that's the reason why, that is also your excuse, right? Like these things are mirror images of each other. And so we just have to, again, reframe our thought process and reframe our thinking to think like, okay, yes, I want to be able to spend time with my kids, and doing this action allows me to actually do that, okay? So when you don't have time, this kind of helps you be more efficient because you're showing up as your best self and your more productive self, right? So you'll actually get more done and be able to have more capacity when you're taken care of. Because when you are too tired, taking care of yourself and prioritizing your health will actually provide you with more energy. I promise. Okay. Anyways, I hope this episode was super helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and let's connect on socials as well. I will talk to you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning into the Prioritize You podcast. If you got something out of this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would screenshot this and share it on your stories, or just share it with a friend. Just imagine if we could all prioritize our needs as moms. I just feel like the world would be a better place if moms were more well taken care of. And if you feel like, oh my God, Brittany, I need support like right now, I get it and I've got you. Go to my website and fill out the coaching application, and let's get this process started. All right, I'll see you all on my Instagram between episodes. I'd love to hear from you. So send me a DM and let's chat about how you can start to prioritize you. And maybe I'll just create an episode around any questions that you might have. You can also leave a rating and review on iTunes. It really helps me get this message out there and connect with more moms who are in this same position as us. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next episode.